All right, hello grade 9s. We're going to talk about the second part of lesson 1.1. We're going to talk about a little bit more about lab safety, and specifically we're going to talk about some different symbols. Okay, so it is very important that you are maintaining those safety responsibilities and those guidelines and rules, because you are responsible for your safety as well as everyone around you. So what you do in the classroom impacts everyone around you. So it is very important that you're acting in a safe way. If you do not, you will immediately be removed from the lab and you cannot continue to participate. So it is very important that you are remaining safe and responsible, because we do not want to remove you from it, but if you do act in that way, it is for the best interest and the safety of everyone else. So the science process, we need to understand what the hazards are, what are the worst case scenarios in order to prevent them, how will you deal with them if that actually does happen, and then lastly, what can we do to minimize the risk? So understanding each of those parts is very important to maintain our safety. Knowing what the worst possible case is and knowing how to deal with that if that happens will prepare you in the best way possible. Okay, there's Beaker, my favorite guy. So if you're not sure about something, you need to ask me. Okay, ask myself. If there's another teacher in the room, ask that teacher. You need to make sure you ask us before you do something if you're unsure of it. That's totally fine. I'm happy to answer your questions. Now we're going to talk about WHMIS and HHPS. So WHMIS stands for Workplace Hazardous Materials Information System. That's WHMIS. And then HHPS stands for Hazardous Households Product System. So you might have already heard these before. So WHMIS, very quickly, it stands for, I already mentioned what it stands for, and you pronounce it WHMIS, W-I-M-I-S. And basically, it is a Canada-wide information system for all workers and employers. So if you have a job, or if you will be getting a job, you'll most likely have to do training in order to understand WHMIS. And so essentially what it does is it tells workers what are the materials they're going to be working with, what are the potential dangers and hazards that you will be working with, so you know how to deal with them in a safe manner. It's very important. So you see this in the workplace. There are 3 parts to WHMIS. The first part is the MSDS. Now every workplace will have an MSDS, which is stored separately from that material and essentially gives all the details and information needed in order to handle emergencies, cleanups, and safe use of that material. So it's basically like the instruction manual for how to use that hazardous material. It also includes labels. So these labels essentially are warnings that tell you what types of danger, what potential hazards that material has. And then also worker education. So you need to make sure that, or your employers need to make sure that you know what the hazardous materials are and how to use them. So every job you will have training. I, as a teacher, especially as a science teacher, need to do WHMIS training every year so that I know what materials we're working with and so that I can use them in a safe manner. Okay, so there's a few different symbols, and these are called pictograms, that tell us what the kind of materials we're using and what their dangers are. So this first little bottle basically tells you it's a compressed gas. This next one tells you it's an oxidizing material. This one tells you, this little T kind of tells you that it's something that would cause a toxic effect. It might not cause death. It's a little bit less dangerous than the skull and bones, which we'll talk about in a second, but it's still toxic. This next one means that there's corrosive material. It will corrode the surface that it is on if you were to drop it, which is very careful with those ones, I mean with all of them, obviously. Then this flames means that you're dealing with flammable material, so something will catch fire, or it will catch fire if there is ignition near it. The skull and bones means that materials cause immediate and very serious toxic effects. So interacting with this material in an unsafe way will cause immediate effects, meaning they will take place right away, death and serious immediate effects. This means that it is a biohazardous and infectious material. And the last one means that it's very reactive. So it will react with other materials if it is either combined with other materials or is exposed to other materials. The next system that we're going to talk about is probably one that you've already seen before. It's the hazardous household product symbols. So you'll often see these on different cleaning supplies and things like that. And so these are not all these products are controlled by WHMIS. And so these are consumer products. So ones that you don't see in a workplace and you see just on a normal day to day. You could see it in the grocery store or in a store in general. They are called consumer products. Okay, so there's two parts to this system. One, the shape that surrounds, and then a picture. So the picture's in the middle with a shape around it, and they both mean something different, and they work together to tell you what that means. So these are the different shapes that you could see around the picture. So the octagon means danger, like serious danger. The warning means you need to be careful, and there's could be serious effects. And this caution sign means that you need to follow, I mean, with all of these, you need to follow those safety precaution steps, but a little bit less so serious. Still serious though. So you'll see 4 different types of pictures, and each of these means something different. So you'll see that they have a shape around them. That kind of tells you this is danger, whereas over here we've got caution. So corrosive eats or wears away other materials, so it's corrosive. Explosive means that it can explode if in the right environment, and then it could give off deadly vapors if it does explode. Flammable means that it ignites, so if it is exposed to heat or sparks, it could become flammable, or it will ignite in flames. It is still flammable. So this is why oftentimes with products, you are not supposed to leave them in a very hot environment. It says in the instructions to store in a cool environment. So you need to be careful with those. It might be flammable. And the last one means that it's poisonous, which means it may cause sickness or death if it is swallowed. All right, so those are our hazardous household products and symbols. You should know what the shapes mean as well as the pictures for this system. And then as for the WHMIS system, you need to know what the pictograms mean. So move on to the next task, and we'll see you guys later.